to our the topic for today. I just wanted to have a preview of a post-mortem of what we discussed about last week. Last week we had the topic which read all 4 episodes covered. What next for Zimbabwe? So we had a general discussion about Zimbabweans. We have covered about the issues of the gold mafia. We have got situations where people have actually were seen looting our resources. What can we really do in order for us to make sure that this thing is talked about, and those who took our resources have got to be put into where they are supposed to be. So, Dr. Maifa, I don't know what got your mind in as far as or what still catches your mind in as far as what we discussed about last week.
Thank you, Mkoma Denford, and thank you everyone on the platform. The issue of making the Zimbabwean society aware of the gold mafia and a lot of misgovernance and things that are going wrong in the country was agreed upon, and mostly we kind of agreed that it starts with us. We have to make our immediate families aware of what's happening, considering also the rural folks that might not have access to social media like we do. Kungovazivisa vabereki nehama dziri kumusha kuti izvi munongoudzwa kuti masanction asi problem chaiyo iri pakati nepakati. And then we also agreed that talking without action does not really work. So the people in UK were telling us that they would, on the 18th, go to the embassy there in United Kingdom and give their petition and visit several offices there to tell them what's going on in Zimbabwe and ask for help, maybe to bring to book the culprits involved in gold mafia and human rights abuses. And then also in North America, they agreed that yesterday people would go to Washington, D.C., the capital, to also do the same thing. And from the videos and everything I saw on social media, to me, it was a great success because the message went out there, the message of awareness, and also people acting on what they had agreed upon. Let me yield back the mic to you, host.
Thank you very much. And before we go ahead with what we are going to be speaking today, I want to quickly thank our Facebook listeners, our YouTube listeners, as well as Change Radio listeners who are with us right now, to say thank you very much for joining us and continue to listen to this gospel that we are preaching to Zimbabweans across the whole world. We need the change in Zimbabwe. And for all those who are listening, we encourage you to go to our YouTube channel that is being streamed right now, and like our page, subscribe to it so that we disseminate information to it. We need everybody to have information about what we are talking about. So thank you very much. And before we also waste a lot of our time, I think we also need to have a discussion of what came out of Zimbabwe's news last week. What, Dr. Maifa, I want to come to you as well. What did you have in as far as the news in Zimbabwe from Monday up to today, Sunday? Can you quickly speak us through to what came into your mind as far as Zimbabwe's news is concerned? Dr. Maifa, you are muted. Can you unmute?
Oh, sorry. Old age. So I'm sorry. So I was saying what caught my mind was that ZANU-PF primaries had to be rerun in, I think, 5 or so constituencies. And that was exciting to see the results. It also caught my mind that in Masvingo, the CCC is being persecuted. You know, the nominated councillors and stuff like that have been imprisoned allegedly for attacking ZANU-PF people. So you see that the persecution of opposition continues. And then we also see that Triple C has continued with its nomination process, being attacked left, right, and center, but it is what it is. I think that's what caught my mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Maifa. Like I said, today we do not have any invited guests. So I'm saying, in as much as we are still in the preliminary stages of our program, I think those who are willing to speak about the topic that we have got at the top, please grab the request for the mic. We'll give you a mic to discuss about all that we would want to discuss about incoming government on uniting Zimbabwe and the recovery of our looted resources. Like I said to the people who were here before, that the reason why I would want to discuss about this topic, in particular about the unification of Zimbabweans, is more to do with what we have realized, that in Zimbabwe since 1980 until now, ZANU-PF has been in power for that period of that time. We've had a situation in which most Zimbabweans from different political persuasions were actually drifted apart. Even on tribal grounds, they were drifted apart. Why? Because of the entrenchment of hatred that was perpetrated by ZANU-PF. And that is the challenge to the incoming government, to say what has to be done in order for the coming together of Zimbabweans. So we need to speak up about that. And as far as the news in Zimbabwe, I just want to quickly speak about what caught my mind. One thing that caught my mind was the interview that was on President Nelson Chamisa by Blessed Mhlanga. They discussed about a wide range of issues, but there are a number of things that were so much of interest. Chamisa wakabvunzwa nyaya iri kuitika pasocial media, and as far as some of the issues dzinotaurwa naHopolo Chingono, vakataurawo nenyaya dzekuti what exactly have you got to do, especially to do with the zvinhu gold mafia. You are being accused of being so quiet. And Mapindura Wakaita, he is a person who is supposed to be entrusted by Zimbabweans to lead Zimbabwe, and has just shown that he can actually lead our country. For those who haven't watched or listened to that video, please, I just implore you to go and listen to that. It is so healthy to listen to. And also the other news that we had in Zimbabwe is to do with the protest that took place in the United Kingdom in London. Where Zimbabweans were showing their displeasure. Where unfortunately they couldn't. Okay, in the United States they couldn't find anyone there. They locked their door for the petitioners. Other issues that came into fore was the issues of civil servants refusing to sign the salary increases that was being given by the government. These are issues that were of pertinent concern as far as the news is concerned in Zimbabwe. And also that President Nelson Chamisa met the United Kingdom ambassador to Zimbabwe. These are diplomatic meetings that took place. But back to you, Dr. Maifa, before we go to Koma Champion, who is now with the mic. Dr. Maifa.
Thank you very much, Koma Denford. Let me again welcome everyone to this platform and remind all of us that we have to be considerate of each other's feelings and emotions. So let's be kind to each other as we map the way forward for Zimbabwe. And I don't know if Nkoma Mpendero has pinned the the YouTube channel Reshaping Zimbabwe, because we want people to get information. And let's feel free to use whatever language we are comfortable with, so that even vari kumamisha vanzwisisewo zvatiri kutaura, so that we share the same information and we move on together. Thank you, host.
Right, zvakanaka Dr. Maifa, ndisati ndaenda kuna Mukoma Champion, toda kuti nditaure nyaya dziri pano dzekuti kana tichitaura nenyaya dzekuti Zimbabwe inofanira kuva iri inounitwa sei negovernment ichapinda in power. Tiri kutaura nenyaya yekuti we have had a situation in which vanhu takaparadzana neswa. Tinozoona pano even pa social media chaipo kuti vanhu we are so much polarized to an extent yekuti we don't naturally see eye to eye as Zimbabweans. Why? Because we've got different political views, and these could have been caused by. It's not a problem for ordinary Zimbabweans, but my personal understanding is this problem was brought about by ZANU-PF. Why do I say this? The reason being, today in the rural areas, you go there and somebody who is putting on their triple C t-shirt, and they go there, they would want to do their political campaigns there. Unobatwa ikoko ugo iswa demo musoro chamo nenyaya yekuti waenda kunoti ndoda kuti ndichinje zviri pa status quo iripo. And we have heard people who lost their lives. We talk about 2008, we talk about 2005, 2000, and even 1999 during the inception of MDC. When we speak about what happened in the early 80s, we all know about what happened in Matabeleland, and this is squarely on the doors of ZANU-PF when an estimated 20,000 people lost their lives. The way in which they were killed actually resembles brutality from the part of the regime. And when we think about that, then we say to ourselves, oh, these people, have these problems have they been solved, or have people been made to come together in order to actually make their differences sorted out? So far, the government hasn't done that, and because what we have on the ground is the present government is hesitant to actually face the problem, and they are just postponing the solution to this problem. So this is why, or this is the context in which we are saying, how is the incoming government going to be uniting Zimbabweans on those grounds? Mukoma Champion, I'm just saying this thing before you come in. We have got so much of vanhu vari mugovernment, even in the corporate world, who managed to take out our resources from the country, and most of them, that is the reason why we find that even the efforts for the RBZ to would have wanted to freeze the assets of those gold mafia people, they couldn't. Why? Because all the resources, or almost all the resources, could have been externalized. And now, knowing that our resources have been externalized, what mechanisms would the government be able to recover such monies? So, Mukoma Champion, can you just take us through on what stages, or what, in which ways would a responsible new government do in order to make Zimbabweans come together and recovery of our resources?
Brother Denford, can you just give me like 3 minutes? Is that fine?
That's no problem. That's no problem.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Dr. Maifa, can you give me what you think should be put in place? And by now, I'm sure the Triple C has got so much of the programs that it has actually put in place in order for the reconciliation of Zimbabweans, and also the issue to do with the funds and resources that were looted out of the country. What do you think has to be done by the incoming government?
Thank you, Mukoma Denford, and thank you, everyone. Right. Let me take you back to 1979, then into 1980, to see where we went wrong, so that when we seek remedies or solutions, we know where we are starting from. So basically, there were two main armies, the Zanla and the Zipra. Zanla was coming from Zambia. The Zipra was coming. Zanla was coming from Mozambique. Zipra from Zambia. I think clearly there was no plan for reconciliation or for uniting people when these people took over. We see from the fights that happened. We see from the massacre that happened in Matabeleland and imprisonment of Zipra people who should have been parallel or at the same level with Zanla people. So there was no plan. And this is what we don't want to happen. We are saying there are so many political parties now. Here there were two, but so many people died. Now there's Triple C, there's MDC, there's ZW, whatever, Linda Masarira Party. Some of them I don't even know them by name. I just know the leaders. So you are Ngarivume, Vane Dzavo. So now that we have more political parties, how are we going to be united as one when two would not see eye to eye? And a lot of people lost their lives. So we are saying before the government takes over, whichever government is going to take over, what is the plan? I think it starts with us as individuals to have tolerance before we even go to the government, because the government is formed through us, the citizens. So basically, I put it on myself, I put it on you to say, let's tolerate one another in the first place. The other one might be crazy, talking nonsense, doing nonsense, but let's find a way, a peaceful way of making us united, so that even whichever political party takes over, atizobayani mumaziso kuti imimi maimboti chii, or we want to start preparing right now, and we are the people who are well informed, who are exposed to reconciliation, and we are expected to understand. Nokuti kutova patwitter panapa zvinotoreva kuti unotori nekamwe kacertain exposure kanoita kuti unzwisise zvimwe zvisinganzwisiswiwo nana mbuya kumusha uko nanani. So if we start here ourselves by understanding each other, by tolerating each other, then it spills over. So to me, the incoming government must by now be preaching the message of peace, preaching the message of reconciliation, and refraining from any verbal aggression, refraining from any physical aggression. No political violence should be tolerated as of now if a party or if a government is going to be formed by any opposition, or even if it's the ruling party. Let's assume the ruling party wins, which I doubt it will, and which I believe it will not. But let's speak reconciliation. Let's speak reconciliation. It starts by individuals. Back to you, host.
Right, thank you, Dr. Maifa. And sometimes as we are going through with our discussion, we need to make sure that we understand that it is not as simple as what we are speaking about right now, because let's say, especially in as far as the recovery of my resources akabiwa aya maona, mtaona kuti pane mari dzakawanda. Okay, Mkoma Champion, I think I see you. I'll come to you right now. Pane mari dzakawanda dzakabiwa, not nema politicians chete are in power just now, but this issue that has just taken place, I think some few months ago or late last year, when the government highlighted that there's not anyone who is going to be allowed to export lithium ore. This has got to be the preserve of the government, if I'm not mistaken. But within
well, the independence of these institutions is something of prime importance. We do have got our examples. We have got RBZ, ZEC, ZAC, ZBC, police, army. All those institutions have to be reformed. When these institutions are going to be reformed, they are supposed to be also been given their mandates to say each and every institution must try to fulfill its mandate as far as it is supposed to be, so that if it is ZACC, which is called ZAC, it must be not housed in the president's office. It's not majuru kana kuti shwarara dzinogara muhomwe mapresident. They must be that as an institution it must have its own headquarters somewhere where political leaders do not have any say, right? Then we must do a real Truth and Reconciliation Commission. We need inquiries. My major inquiry that I will specify about it, it's electoral rigging. Because why I am bringing electoral rigging? Electoral rigging, it's what have brought Zimbabwe to its knees right now. So if we are going to have any inquiry from 1980, if we still have got people who were participating in electoral rigging since 1980, they have to be brought to the inquiry until 2023. Why I am saying so? Because I would not want to have a future where political parties will be rigged, will be whatsoever. I don't like that. I want people to express their views and their will to be respected. So any inquiry into electoral rigging is one of the most important one. Any inquiry as well into violence that has gone from 0 to 100% must be done as well, because we want to be able to unite one another. We want to be able to speak the truth that can enable us to be one, so that tomorrow, and also there must be an educational reform that deals with the issue of language. Because from where I am looking at, you will find that someone stays in Masvingo. He doesn't know Ndebele, but that same person is in Zimbabwe. How is he going to engage with those who are from Matebeleland when he goes there? It becomes a problem, and it becomes a language barrier that must be solved too. So maybe with these, and also I will say, we must be also open to make sure that even the offenders themselves, they must come forward and even also confess why they were doing it. If it is about Gukuraundi, those who were implicated in must be able to freely come forward and speak why they have done so. Electoral rigging, they must also come forward and be able to say why they were doing so. Violence in Zimbabwe, especially political violence, they must come forward and confess to the people, so that by the end, a lot of hatred, a lot of kufungirana must be something of the past. I think that's what I can say for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mkoma Champion, for your submission. And it's true, we want people that are responsible and people that know what they are doing to be in leadership positions. I think the mistake that we made in 1980 is to just say, iwe taiva tese kuhondo, chitora ministry iyo, iwe chitora iyo, or iwe chana cha tete, chitora ministry iyo. And within minutes, we were already into the Willowville scandal. So let's put the right people in leadership positions. You also spoke about balances, checks and balances. Zvese hazvingangoiswi muhomwe mapresident kuti legislative irimo, judiciary irimo, executive irimo. Hazviiti. Let each branch stand on its own so that there is accountability. totozwa kuti mupurisa anoita basa rake, hazvina basa kuti ndipresident, hachina basa kuti mwana wapresident, mupurisa angaite basa rake. Kana ari magistrate haudzirwi zvokuita, kana ari lawyer haudzirwi zvokuita, or you are not victimized for exposing anything that's not right. So thank you very much, Koma Champion. And when we come to institutions, it's a very serious issue which we must take into consideration. Thank you so much for your submission. And like Mkoma Denford has mentioned before, we don't have any guest speakers. So feel free, everybody, to grab the mic so that we find possible solutions for the problems that we are facing as Zimbabweans. Hatidi kupinda mune imwe election, popinda new people, tisina plan like we did in 1980. Takatofunga kuti varungu zvavanga vachinzi vari kutitorera mapurazi, vari kutitorera zvinhu zvaakunaka. Vakupindawo toti tapinda, vakutobvutawo ndivo. So we want a reasonable and, a plan that's fair for every Zimbabwean citizen. Do you know, let me take your time a little bit. When I was in high school, ndo panga pambopinda Muzorewa akabuda. And most of my friends were in UANC, their parents. Vana Muzorewa, vana Zindoga, vana Sadomba. Those were my friends, vana vavo ivavo. And I was so excited to say 1980. Yeah, you see, yeah, Zanu yakupinda. And you know what those kids were saying to me? Uchaona, everything will go down the drain. And I argued, I told them, you are brainwashed. But now I regret, I wish I could see those old friends of mine and say, you were so right. So we want to have a government that goes in with a good plan for everybody. Thank you so much, Mkoma Champion. Let me give this time to Dobbs. And again, demand for the mic, please, everyone.
Yeah, thanks a lot, my far champion and also the other listeners. I do agree with what we are saying to say we have to go to the new government should come up with new plan. One of the issues which they have to look at is our own laws. You must understand what happened in 1980. We held those elections under state of emergency. And soon after independence, the state of emergency laws were being used against the political enemies, not insurgents. Well, those laws were designed to be used against insurgents, but they were now being used against the political elements. We did not reform a lot from those same issues. That is why we see people like Lookout Masu dying in prison and Davengwa staying years and years in prison while he was already discharged. If those laws had been removed, there was no need for him. However, ZANU-PF being ZANU-PF, anything can happen. We have seen what they have done to Job Sakala. If they find out that they no longer have enough evidence of this law, they are bringing new charges. That is what they do. So all such practices, again, must go. We must just agree to say we don't want the persecution of political persecutions. We don't want them. And we want somebody to be punished according to his crime, not just punching somebody before trial, like what is happening. All those issues should be examined. And Zimbabwe being an actual nation, it is the moment we are really divided. Be it the region, tribe, and even political, we are really divided. You can see others to use that slogan to say Pasne Mandu. And if you ask you to say, whom are you referring to? Say Mandu, there will be a point of view because you have opposing views. So all those slogans, those practices need to be examined to say, are we going to continue with those practices? And the issue of trustworthy, to say we should be able to trust our government, to say if they say something, they must do it. If they explain, they must explain in such a manner that we understand their own explanation, not to force us to understand it and accept it. If we are still arguing to say what we are doing is wrong as government, they must know. There are a lot of issues to investigate. Even some of the chiefs who are holding chieftains now, they are not actually chiefs. We don't know how they come to be chiefs. So all those, even the roles of the chiefs themselves, I'm just becoming a dog for myself to say, even the roles of the chiefs needed to be examined and agreed to say these are the proper roles of the chiefs. Because at the times we are now having parallel laws. One to deal with traditional act and one to deal with the our normal courts, be it criminal or commercial, they will differ. So it's very, very difficult. Then the role of the courts itself, they need to be examined, because at the moment, the justice system of Zimbabwe is stopping us to do a lot of things. We can't even trade among ourselves because we don't trust ourselves. And if anything goes wrong, we don't have anywhere where we can go to say, can we go to courts? We know they will drag the matter, and the cost of using our courts, I can't talk about it because the majority of us, we cannot afford them. So all those courts, like what they were before, like when we used to have those small claims court, which used to work very effectively, but they simply disappeared. Now we don't have anything to solve our own disputes. That is why we now have the kangaroo courts all over the country. And the issue of visiting what happens during the past, in a manner that we address, we use them as history to say this is what happened. So we have to avoid it. We have to visit all the issues to do with the Gukura wound and examine and apologize where we should be apologizing. That is the only way we can build a nation, to come up with a nation. If we just, and even the issue of giving other foreigners land, we need to examine them. I don't imagine where we have that land being owned by Belarus. To say this land is for Belarus, what would happen with the villagers who are staying there? We need to ask that question to say what would happen to them if we give them those hectares and the other hectares are given to other people. We need to stop that issue. And even the issue of title deeds is supported, is a good idea, but mustn't be used politically. We must all understand to say we have title deeds for Zimbabwe because we are Zimbabweans. Then start from there. The other issue of owning it, to say this is my piece of land, I've bought it. It should be that, just that, to add value to somebody who is already in Zimbabwe and owning that piece of land, or we have come to buy that piece of land and invest in that piece of land and said, I've got value for it, I value for it. But as soon as I have arrived in Zimbabwe, I automatically think that I've got a title deed for that land. I can travel freely and agree with whatever the laws which are there. But to see us being repossessed our land, to say this land, we find an investor which benefits somebody, which doesn't benefit yourself, the one who is currently occupying that land, is troubling us a lot. To say if those issues are not visited, the same problems will continue. For the sake of time, let me thank everybody and then back the mic to you, host and co-host. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you very much, Asabukude. I'm going to be asking you a question after what I'm going to be speaking about. So if you wouldn't mind, Miriam Ripapo, Asabukipapo. Pane mubvunzo, and mubvunzo andinawo, maybe one person that I see here is Dr. Diamond, if she will be able, if you are not busy, and dokumbira kuti munipindure iwoyo. As we are speaking about the uniting of Zimbabweans, to say a lot of discussions were made concerning how our civil service have been deployed across the country. And there has been concerns from both Matabeleland South and Matabeleland North region, where we have had people coming from Mashonaland, people coming from Manicaland, occupying some posts within government institutions in Matabeleland. I'm yet to be informed, and that's why I'm saying Dr. Diamond don't no information as far as that is concerned. So if you wouldn't mind, Dr. Diamond mokwira pamsoro to mondipindiro epapanya kuti where do we have a problem in somebody applying for a post in Matabeleland coming from Mutare? Or do we also have a problem in somebody coming from Matabeleland coming to Murewa? Because there are some instances where discussions have been made and people have actually said that we have had problems with teachers, passport office staff, and nurses and doctors. People who could have been complaining. So I think we need a little bit of education in as far as that is concerned, especially when we are going to be coming from the fact here. The reason why I'm talking about this thing is we are talking about the new government that is going to be coming into power, which is different from ZANU-PF, because with the ZANU-PF, I understand it used to just deploy its relatives, people without, sometimes some of them could not be having qualifications. Remember what used to happen with the border against people and so on and so on. That is a different thing altogether. I'm talking as far as the new government that we are talking about, a principled one, where somebody with merit has got to Awana Basarake, Matabeleland South, and or apply. But somebody maybe from there will say, no, someone from Matabeleland, I think we don't need. We also have got our people. How does it help in making our people united and not united? But this is up to anyone who would want to answer that. Mkoma Champion, if you can answer that one, I will be happy to answer that one. But let me come back to you, Mkoma Champion, and say you have got your hand up. Can you speak out what you want to speak? And if you can answer me on that, thank you.
All right, Brother Denford, thank you so much. You know, I think the issue of devolution have to be made in a practical sense. Why I am saying practical sense? You know, we have to go back to executive mayorship, I think, for the reason being that I still remember that yesterday there was another space where the mayor of Harare was having problems and outlining his real problems, actually, about being a mayor and how the minister interferes with. So I think if we are going to have a new government, the government must make sure that there is no interference between mayor and the minister of local governance. And I would urge as well the new government to come to make sure that there is a protection of whistleblower bill that makes sure that even if I hate or I don't hate what some of our whistleblowers doing, for example, what Hopo Chingono and others doing, even right now in exposing corruption and so forth, he must have protection, full protection of being able to extensively bringing all these issues of corruption to the public eye and without any arrest. And I still have got this as well to say the rule of law must be applied without anybody becomes law on himself, right? We must have municipalities. We must also have what is called, we must have a lot of reforms, especially zvimwe ma-acts kubva kunana RBZ Act, ZEC Act, ZAC Act, Judiciary Act, ZBC Act or Broadcasting Act, Protection of Whistleblower Act, Police Act, then municipality, rural and urban municipality act. That makes sure that, you know, the municipality must collect its revenue and know how to deal with that. And the municipality, and also this must be done, I think, to say, if area is under municipality, it must be protected by municipal police. Hatidi kuona mapurisa anozoti iwo anoenda kunotsvaga malicense evanhu vari kushanda vari kutengesa mu area iri around Harare. Ari kudei mapurisa? That promotes corruption. Saka izvozvo zvese zvinofanira kubviswa, zvoinda navamanangara vachinda vakadaro vondopedzerana ukoko, kana vachinda kuHades ngavandopedzerana ukoko, nokuti tinoda kuti tive ne a new system that allows us to work, that allows us even to contribute to the society. Ipapa mukatarisa, I think it's area yandisinganya yangu kuziva, area ye social work chaiyo. Zvirema, mapofu, even anonzi machiyaya zvine artists, tine tarenda rakawanda rikungorasika. Risiri kuitwa even protected and promoted. We need all those, and we need as well research and development as an institution, because right now ukazvivhunza kuti all right, tinoti tine lithium, tinoti tine potential yokuva nema-rare minerals earth, but who is going to do that research? Who is going to do which and what? There is nothing. So we need research and development. We need, I don't know whether we have got a research institute in Zimbabwe. And that research institute must be also having people very equipped, vanoziva, vanoruzivo. Kwete kungoti tinongonesa zvivanhu zvabva kubhodha gezi, tinesa zvivanhu zvimwe zvatangotora mumashanga. Kita sokuti tatora zvikumwe muroyi. Bodo, hatidi zvikumwe muroyi ma-institutions. Tinoda vanhu vokuti kana chero pakanzi pauya president wakaita sei unoudza kuti president garai kwenyu koko, kuno ndekwedu, and this is our constituency, hamudariki, kana mune mhosva sungwai. Izvi zvokuti tinongotora zvikumwe muroyi tozvibvisa mumashanga, tozvikanda mumaofisi, ndo zviri kutidamburira ma-institutions yedu. Saka employment policies have to be to make sure that they are going to be strengthened. Saka kapandiri kutaura nyaya ye-devolution ezo, ndiri kureva kuti munhu uri kumatebheleland, position isati yafiliwa nomunhu obva kumashonaland, vanhu vari kumatebheleland, they must make sure that hakuna munhu zvachose tatsvaga tikatsvagurudza. Because tikasadaro tikati area imwe neimwe inofanira kana ine deficit inofanira kupublisha on a national database kuti no, we don't have people like who and who. Ngati wanewo province iri kutipa iti uisire munhu kuno wakati. Zvichidaro each and every province ichimeka sure kuti ino lista ma skills ari in deficit, ino lista ma skills ari in surplus. And also, tinofanira kuva ne provincial database. Why we need provincial database? The issue is each and every province must be able to record its own revenue and make sure that for its own revenue, they get what is called municipality infrastructure grant from the government. And this must be done accordingly, proportionally, and make sure that each and every province grows according to the needs of that province. Because right now, everyone is only talking about Harare. If you talk about these growth points, that was a policy that was supposed to be followed. Hapana any growth point which developed into a city or a mega city after that. Hakuna. So we need each and every province must be capacitated in a way that it must oversee about its own, it must oversee about its own investment. Must have its own database. It must have its own things how to deal with issues. It must have its own forensic, whether forensic auditors, whether for forensic medical personnel, they must be there. My fire extinguisher must be in each and every province. Each and every province must be able to react or to respond to its needs. So it must have everything. Whether that is going to be done under the governorship or the premiership is something that comes after. But we need each and every province to make sure that inoita zvinhu zvinoita kuti vanhu vari munharaunda vafare. Haisi nyaya yekuti tinozoona rumwe rudhara ruchiuya rwakabata chigero ruchigura nhanikire pamatoilets pedu atagadzira kana kuti atavaka pachikoro. Rudhara runouya ruchinzi ndo president ruchidambura maribhoni. Izvozvo hatizvidi. And it must end naiwo manangara ngainde nezvinhu zvawo. We want to make sure that each and every province is capacitated enough. Each and every province must compete. Each and every province must register. They must keep their own census. They must keep each and everything that is recorded at national level. They must have their own departments that have got even digital tools to make sure that what I have heard from Mayor of Harare, sometimes people, we may think tinotaura zvinhu zvatisingazivi. Right now, tell me, if a city like Harare does not have an ERP system, right, and enterprise resource planning module, right, or module for it to record revenues and whatsoever, how do you call me as an auditor to come and audit it? I will just disclaim it and say, no, I don't know anything with those financial statements. They can be even thrown in the dustbin. Why? Because we are not capacitating our own institutions. So each and every municipality, whether Masvingo, Gweru, Mutare, and whatsoever, they must have their own tools to deal with needs of that province, needs of that area. Even if we are going to have a new growth point, that growth point must make sure that it has got some minor roles it plays, that reflects back to the province. So provincial capitals have to be built. Provincial capitals have to be, make sure that each and every province. Why? Because we reduce rural urban migration by making sure that each and every province has got an urban area. Each and every province has got a mall. Each and every province has got its own offices. Yeah, the education. Tinoda kuti munhu wega wega ari kuita degree muZimbabwe, it must be industry accredited. Kana ndichiita accounts dzangu must be accredited ne-ICAS. ICAS ndio inoita research yotipa learning modules yotipa kuti aiwa ku-auditing you do this, takano research tikati munoita izvi, ku-taxation munoita izvi, ku-economics munoita izvi. Uchipedza ipapo munhu unotonyora exam yokuti unoenda paZimbabwe Stock Exchange wotoziva kuti alright, kana itaura nyaya dze-financial markets chii chinoitwa. Takungoprodusa zvipukupuku zvokuti ukavhunza kuti ko chii chinonzi derivative hachizivi. Wangofanana nomunhu watora chikumbwe ukachiisa muofisi, chikumbwe chiya chinongoziva kuti chokwakuka. Hapana chimwe chinozikama. So all those things have to be done. And when we talk about this, I know that there are some of our friends who may think, you know what, ninge unoda kuzoita sycophant. No, I am not going to be a sycophant. And whoever who is my friends as well, they are not sycophants. We need these things to be there. We need, it's very, very easy for us to grow. Once we can have kuti munachi extract any mining product, inotozikamwa kuti yatorwa kwakati, right? Mari painouya inofanira kuzikamwa kuti all right, inoenda to this area isina needs, inoenda to this area isina development, inoenda to this area. Kwete inyaya kuti kana even tender process have to be changed. Application of IDs have to be changed. Zunonga zvingaitwa unzi unongoti kakakaka online. Some of us, we opened our companies wherever we are. It was just like a matter of a day. Ndatwa ne company, ndatwa director, ndakutofamba ndichizorowa makumbo kana kuzorowa msana. All those things have to be done. Zveregistre kuti munhu unozama kutsvaga kuti blinati mbavha idzi ndedzepi. Unofanira kuti ukaenda kundoita interrogate the database of the company's registry. Unoona kuti company inoonewa nani, mbavha iyo ndiani yosungwa. We need all these things to be aligned, connected, and make sure that everything is going to be better for the Zimbabweans.
Right. Mkoma champion, ndafunga kuti muchiri kuenderera mberi. Ndoda kuti murambe muripo ndichakubvunzai futi. Mumwe mubvunzo wandoda kuti ndikubvunzei, asi ndisati ndapa Dr. Maifa mukana. Ndoda kuverenga zvandiri kuona pano pana mukoma vangu vanonzi Tsiyekyayahla. So my brother tells me that Zimbabwe political issues will never be resolved as long as Zimbabweans fighting through Twitter while they stay in Europe or South Africa. No evil government will. The second comment, I would want to believe he should be in South Africa. I'm not too sure, maybe he could be in South Africa or somewhere. Zimbabweans will not win against the brutal government through Twitter or while other Zimbabweans stay in Europe or South Africa. You need to use the same energy that is used in South Africa to challenge the courts. Be brave to fight Zim law enforcement the same way it's done in South African police. And lastly, he goes ahead to say, I do agree with the previous speaker. No foreigners must be given a land or permanent citizenship because they benefit more than Zimbabwean people. So Zimbabweans must stop fighting for citizenship and land in South Africa while Chinese people are looting their own land. So this is what he says. I would want to, okay, I just also wanted to highlight that Dr. Diamond, I was struggling to give you the mic, and I see you requested, I tried to give you, but it's not coming right. I don't know what could be happening. But I know you are going to try to come to the podium and explain to us the question that I gave you. Thank you very much. Dr. Maifa, back to you.
Thank you, Mkoma Denford. Thank you, Mkoma Champion, for your submission. I think devolution is an area that we really have to take seriously. Takambonzwa kuti kwatoitwa minister of devolution, amene kuti unodevolva kana unodissolve kana kuti anoitei. So people don't seem to understand that, and I've heard it over the news that the minister July Moyo is head or chief mayor. Akutonopinda mu office mana mayor achivaitira basa ravo. We have to move away from centralizing everything. Chese chinongonzi Harare, Chese Harare. No, each region must grow, like Mkoma Champion has already mentioned. And I want also to go back to what Sabuk Dobbs said. Chieftainship chaiyo zvinongobva ikoko kuna minister kana kuti my president vangofunga kuti chimuti uyu haasi kuita chief wakanaka, regai tiise Mengo. VaMengo ndo vatova chief nhasi. So we have to do things the right way. kana zviri zvetradition toita the right way, kana zviri modernized toita the right way, and research is key, like what Mukoma Champion said. Hatingangopi vanhu minda or land just like that. And it makes me go back to the topic where we must focus on recovery of looted resources. I don't even want us to yet go to gold mafia. There are a lot of resources that have been looted and people might not even be aware. Land chaiyo has been looted. Unoona kwedu kuVic Falls kwatinobva, munhu anobva kuBruwayo kwese, Ulupani, Gwai, ndiye anoona land. I don't want to mention the name, but there's one big shot in ZANU-PF. Anotoona Victoria Falls yese, kubva ikoko kuna Nalupani kwandiri kukutaurirai, kuGwai kupinda Hwange, ndiye anoona all that land. Using it for what? One person. So it's not only about gold mafia. And when I was in Zimbabwe, I used to work for the government, higher education. The Ministry of Higher Education had houses in every town. For example, I was working in Masvingo, and I know of about 20, 30 houses in Rodin that were meant for staff that worked in government institutions, Masvingo Poly, GZU, Masvingo teachers, and stuff like that. Those houses have been looted. Tinotoziva kuti Ghana took 16 houses and gave to relatives. Government houses, government property. So it's a lot of things that have been looted. Not only but they never worked for those houses. It's government property. And those are some of the properties that we want to recover. Even Mama in ZYI, we want to recover. Aungati watibvisa apa. And then this mine yava Belarus, this mine yava yama Russian, this mine yava ya Mr. Chitondo or Mr. Gudo. And Mr. Gudo is another mine there. And that's looting. Because in the first place, the resources should benefit the local community. Iwo watobva kwawabva uko, wakuenda uchinoluta ikoko. I don't think that's very fair. And to respond to you, Mkoma Denford, the chat message there, we really appreciate the contributions from our brother or sister. And I agree that talking on Twitter only does not solve the problem. But that's where we start from. And then we map the way forward. That's what we are trying to do here. And then it has already been explained by both Sabuku Dobbs and Mkoma Champion that legislative, executive, judiciary, they are all in the pocket of the president. So that makes the situation different from South Africa. Judiciary haisati yaiswa muhomwe maMohlante or mapresident. That's why tichiona vachimbotomutswa. It's different. In Zimbabwe, it's different. And I wish people could appreciate that. Not to give it as an excuse, but I just want people to appreciate that it's different. In Zimbabwe, things have gone so wrong. And of course, I also take blame for it because we should have done something for the past 40 or so years. We should have stopped it, but unfortunately, we didn't. Back to you, host. Nkoma Denford, are you there? Oh, I don't know what's going on with Mkoma Denford. So I'll ask Mkoma Champion to respond since you have your hand raised.
Can you hear me, Dr. Mafa?
Now I hear you. all along I couldn't. You were muted.
Oh, okay, that's all right. If Mkoma Champion is to respond, that's okay. But I also wanted to inquire from him about what he thinks about vanhu vakaita sana Hubert Enchel vane ndimi mune ruzivo nenyaya dzeeconomics idzi kuti what could be, how do we really make sure that resources anokwanisa ari anenge akatorwa achiendeswa kune nzvimbo dzakaita sana United Kingdom, and in particular vana United Arab Emirates and Dubai, sorry, where the laws would not even make it easy for another government that would want to trace its resources, acquire their resources. How exactly should the government do? I want to give the case study of South Africa, where you remember how the Guptas have been alleged to looted some money from South Africa, took it to United Arab Emirates. But the president of United Arab Emirates and its institutions would not allow South Africa to access those resources. How really should the government go about it? You can go ahead with your submission as well.
All right, I'm sorry because I received a call while I was speaking, so I could not be able to finish what I was talking about, but it's fine. Thank you once again. When you are dealing with resources that have been externalized, what needs to be done is that we will need a team of auditors and forensic auditors to deal with. I think the records are there, right? And everything is there. So the moment the records are there, it's easier for auditors to trace now, because that's the way how things. I know that there are some companies, there are some countries that does not want to, especially repatriate the money back, or to pay back the money, right? That needs to be clawed back to the home country, right? But what is interesting is that it's not only that area alone, because what will happen next time when they want to come to Zimbabwe to invest, right? We know that. Let me explicitly say this to everybody. I think you know that the kingdoms, especially from Qatar, UAE, and other countries that are around there, they do invest their money mostly in America, and they do invest as well in UK because of the environment. But what may be the issue as well is that if we are going to have an investor-friendly environment, these people as well, when our investor confidence has increased or improved, they will come to invest into our country. So it will be, the onus will be on them to do the right thing right now, or not to do the right thing, because tomorrow they are the same people who want to invest their money when they've got surplus money in their country. So it will be in the best interest of them to make sure that the money that has been looted to their countries must be returned back to Zimbabwe. But I think we must have an amnesty which can run from 3 to 5 months under a new government. Why? We will need a database for the offenders. Everyone who knows that he was an offender of the previous government. Why do we need that? It is important that you come forward, because when the law is now following you, and you know how the full rate of the law, how it is going to be. So it's better you come forward on your own. Then it will be in the hands of the people to see what can we do with you once you have come forward alone. But when our law enforcement agencies of that time will be following you, and we know that it's you were investing money where and where and where and where, because some of the records are there already in the Panama Papers, some of the records are there even in gold mafia and everything. It will be a difficult thing for someone to do so, but I will urge everyone to say to those who knows that they are offenders, please come forward during the amnesty time, because when the full rate of the law is going to catch you, you are going to be in a bad position, because you are going to lose both your money, your resources, and your property, because what is going to be done is a simple auditing exercise. How much were you getting as a civil servant? Because a politician is a civil servant in one way or the other. So he or she must know even today that what is important is for him or her to come forward now, or to come forward during the time of amnesty, because you are going to lose your property. Once you lose your property, once you lose your whatsoever, and when the law comes, there are things that must happen. They will be also looking to say, you have looted, let me say you have looted $1 million to Dubai. Let me say you have looted it in 2010. From 2010 up to now, it's a matter of like 13 years. In those 13 years, you also apply the prescribed rate, because the prescribed rate is there in the law. Each and every country has got what is called the prescribed interest rate. If you take money from someone unjustifiably, you have to pay back the money, the capital, and the interest, applying the compound principle. So that the interest of first year is going to multiply its interest for the second year until it gets to the 13th year, and that money is going to be so much. Instead of you coming forward and just say, okay, since there will be an amnesty, I know that I have looted so much, I have come back with so much, please forgive me, I have done this, because the amnesty is going to be there. Whether someone likes it or doesn't like it, it's going to be there. And we will need a tax reform as well. Why do we need a tax reform? For everyone to be a good taxpayer, what needs to be done? There must be a tax rebates that must reduce your tax burden, so that you feel free to pay that tax, right? So and as well, in a new government, every company that was acquired through political connections and so forth must not be given a tax exemptions as we go forward. Right now, we know that a Great Dyke Investment, he was given a tax exemption. And I think the owners of Great Dyke Investment must know that what is needed is for them to pay money, to pay the tax that they were supposed to pay for the past 5 years, because that was not done according to the principles and rules of the country. So the recovery of looted funds is not a major issue, because what is going to be done is to claw back. And I know that there are some countries that are even eager to come forward and say, oh, okay, George stolen so much, so I am going to bring George's money as it is. It is stashed in our bank account, in HBC and whatsoever. There are some countries that are able to do so. There is also a past experience as well, or a track history. United Kingdom have done that. They have returned money to Nigeria. I think it was last year. So those countries that are ready to do so, knowing that by the end they are the countries that are going to benefit, they will do so. Those that will try to play around and do whatever they do, it's not a problem, but they will come to invest to our own country. What is going to happen? Are we going to leave them like that, or we are going now to say, okay, but remember, you refused to you refused us to recover so much money. That money must be brought back before we can talk about any deal with you. I think those are some of the issues, but that will be needing negotiations. So it will be a matter of negotiations. But to be honest with you, what I have submitted here are some of the things that I do expect the new government to do. Thank you so much. Oh, okay. Sorry. You once asked a question. I think maybe I forgot a question because of what I have already listed down that was affecting 1, 2, or 3. So please, you can ask me again so that I can answer it before I can yield the mic. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Mkoma Champion, and that was so extensive. Yes, as economic amateurs, we just need to nod our heads in agreement to what you are saying. We know it's coming from somebody who has their country at heart. But thank you, Mkoma Champion. We really appreciate it. And what we need to know is that we need to recover our resources. Some, like Dr. Amefa has just said, there are resources that are still within the country. Minda kubva kumatebelele kutora farms ese, well, the peasants are not having anything. These are some of the things that we need to know. But we need also to highlight the fact that as much as we are going to be giving policies that are meant to redress some of the imbalances and some of the lost wealth to the political elites, we need also to balance the fact that these political elites that are in power are going to be hardened by the fear that they are going to be losing these resources. As the incoming government has to make sure that the lost wealth is taken back. But I see Mkoma Champion, you still have your hand, and Mkoma Drops, we still have him. But let's have our new speaker that we have here, Tashinga, if you have got something to contribute, especially on how we have got to recover our looted resources. Thank you. Go ahead, Tashinga.
All right. Thank you. I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, you are clear. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. You know, in terms of these resources in Koma, I would like to first explain, talk a bit further about, I'm not sure of the other countries, but I'll talk about the kingdoms that you mentioned. You see, the kingdoms are a hub of what I like to say called Mbav, a hub of criminals, I mean. Someone who commit their crime, they will come and invest here. Once that person invests and whatsoever, they are equally protected. It will be very difficult for us to Dubai. So in terms of that, and if these people are still within our countries, if our facilities are Dubai, I think it will be wise for us to rather take something that is of equivalent or something that is of substance to what they have in those countries that we cannot take our monies back from. Dubai, my bank account, kune 30 million. You know, in Zimbabwe, we look at the person we assess, I'm champion, my investigations, my forensics, we see their worth within countries that we can touch on. And then we move forward to take those things, to recover those things back. And because we cannot just say, yet that person to recover within the country. You know, even some things that acquire illegally, you know, can compensate for those things that they acquired illegally, untouchable, because that person already has got something. So during that amnesty time, I think those are things that we're supposed to also look at. But what I Shamari, Zimbabwe, Dubai, these buildings, Zimbabwe, so let's agree. kuti tiwirirane iwe neni takutora zviri kunoku izvi iwewe go do away with whatever you have taken tichikwanisa kudzosa ichocho you start from there, you know. And the issue of land, I was just laughing ndichiseka zvangu recently ndichibvunza about these new deeds ari kupiwa ku-airport, because I got so much land there that I bought from the local council. So, you know, these people are playing with people's lives. Tama neupenyu hwevanhu zvinhu zvisina any substance zvokuti mangwana mugonongomuka makatorerwa city ikoko rakadliwa vari kutamba njuga nevanhu. So these are some of the things zvatinofanira kugadzirisa within the short period that the government gets in, the first few years vogadzirisa zvinhu izvozvo, so that citizens can never be threatened like that again, or can never be toyed with like that again. Then minda kune vanhu vakagarira minda isiri kushandiswa effectively. You know, that land needs to be claimed back. Rather give those people ultimatums. The next following seasons are if we don't see any ifam rako rine capacity yakadai zvokalculatewa nana mukoma champion vanoziva mafocus nei handika. If you don't produce at least this much from your farm, then we are taking it back. Takuona toita sei neland iyoyo. Then there is an issue of land barons. Vaitorera vanhu nzvimbo, vaitengesera vanhu mastands ka 3-3 ka 4-4, people having to pay because they are scared of internal of their places. We also need to find a way to address those people. Toraitiwo shamwari vaitora land votengesera vanhu vodzoka futi votiri kuda mari kuti iwedzerwe top up, vodzoka futi votiri kuda imwe top up, intimidating these people, taking money continuously. We need to recover that money and rather put it in the system to benefit the people. Mario Stonan Idzorwe, you went out my hospital, you work as Zvikoro, my communities. Yeah, because if you look at most of these communities, animal land barons, Akuna Zvikoro, Akuna ma hospitals, Akuna Chi, we need to hold those people accountable. I promise a development from roads, from whatsoever. Zvese izvozvo zvafana kutariswa nenyuu government ichipinda kuti right gadzirisa isa kwese kwamaiti muchadaiso pese pamene muchadaiso masiwa systems zvavasina kuita. Those people need to be held accountable because ndo zvimwe zvavari kuenjoya vachiti mabenefits edu. Once takutengeserai munhu anenge akudza kuti runda road yeyi shandisa iripo iyoyo, you know, ma-infrastructure shandisa aripo yayo. What is there is there. Akutodya mari akunakidzwa. You know, so we need to be able to address those things. It will go a long way in alerting the others. If you don't give the people the services you said you're going to give, the government will definitely come for you. Shanda in a proper, legit way and do due diligence and deliver exactly what they said they will deliver to the people. You know, things like that. Those are some of the things that I feel we need to look at. And vamwe vacho vakaisa zvinhu kuhama kuvana kupi all those things need to be accounted for and checked. Kuti alright, iwewe wakaisa kuvana vako, how did your 13-year-old daughter acquire this? How did your 18-year-old son acquire this? And from how, where, and what was the process? And all that, those are zvinhu mumaoko egovernment, zvinhu zvotanga kufambiswa nemagwaro chaiwo akajeka. I think I'll learn there for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Koma Tash. We appreciate your submission. Yes, people should account for what they have. Unotoona munhu akangoti from high school atogara pamba atova namazimota atova namazimari namaziprazi. People should account akazviwana sei. And even if you are a business person, I think the incoming government must make almost everyone account for what they have so that we can move forward smoothly. Umbava must be stopped. And like you rightly said, people should be given title deeds appropriately. And then there should be proper development there. I can't just wake up and claim to be a land baron, start selling land from Norway. We've seen a lot of people suffer, especially in Harare. Poor wetlands ayo mongonzi tatengesa. The next thing the government comes, amunga wake up, zvakubhunywa zvakunzi muramba tsvina. So that should really stop. I realize that Uncle Dobbs has been quiet for long. Let me come back to you, Uncle Dobbs. You can comment on everything that everyone else said.
Yeah, I don't have to comment. I only have to agree with what everybody said. But what we have to answer back, like, there are some issues which people don't understand the way how they implemented by the government and the impact on the community. Like, for example, when teachers are deployed in other areas from one region to another region, they don't assess to say, can somebody who can't speak Chitonga go there and teach grade 1 or even grade 3? They don't assess it, they just send. Or just to send a nurse from Harare to go and teach there, to go and work there as a nurse without a translator, without providing the provision of a translator. They don't understand how difficult it is. So those are some people will just be complaining of the pain to say it's very difficult to get service from the servers which we are deploying here because they don't speak our languages. That is the message which they are sending. They are not complaining to say because of their tribe, but they are just complaining to say, we don't understand their language and we can't communicate with them. But there are some instances again where we find out to say,
sorry, Mkoma Dobbs, to just interject you on that. I need to understand where the line is drawn between integrating our societies, our communities, and the issue of minding how communication has to be enhanced by people from a different region to another. I also understand what Tim Kuma Champion has talked about as far as devolution is concerned. When we are speaking about somebody coming from another region who is not so much conversant, let's speak about a nurse for a particular reason. They know they're trained to become a nurse, but the vacancy that came about is in a particular area where they can't speak eloquently with the same language. So where exactly can we draw the line of integration as well as the effective communication?
So when we talk about integration, nothing stops us to integrate, but there are some incidents when you have to assess the impact on the people whom you are supposed to serve. For example, that one of a teacher, I'm not a teacher and I've never been a teacher, probably Dr. Diamond or Champion will talk more about it. To say if you try to talk with a grade 1, right, a grade 1 kid who is from Matebeleland, who can't speak Shona, and you try to talk with him in Shona or English, we are no longer providing service. We are already killing that child instead of developing that child. Same applies to the nursing where you are referring. Because I'm just giving it a shallow thinking because I know it from a shallow thinking, not from deep. Somebody do I'll be happy if somebody correct me. From the nurses, where I find them complaining, they said, we would even the one who is receiving service would be fearing for that probably the nurse is not understanding the nature of illness. So at the end of the day, he might be given a wrong medication or because of wrong diagnosis, because I'm not understanding what we are saying, the nurse is not understanding. Even the patient no longer have the confidence that I'm getting treated, because confidence also working to say if the nurse says go and get these tablets and drink 2-3 times a day, you'd understand it, have confidence, and go there saying, this solve is being solved, and then start planning to say, in a week's time, I will no longer have that headache and so forth. So they don't have all those issues. They get confused, the patient and the relationship won't work that way. That is the other reason where I find it very, very difficult. And then there are some situations where there's a lot of nepotism. To say we just see where people have been employed in a particular field, have qualifications, then one just come and is a commissioner, like what happened in second tax offices. It happens like that, to say we just find somebody from college, straight to become a commissioner? What is those ones with the experience are not being considered because one is affiliated to or is related to somebody who is on top? It is also happening even in the it is also happening now even in the army and police, to say we'll find somebody just being like that, he joined the police or the army, within 6 years is already commissioned or a platoon commander. It's something which is surprising us to say, does one have the ability, knowledge and experience to be at that position? So all those issues needed to be considered, because we don't want them to continue happening like that. We want the service to be offered and to benefit both the one who is offering the service and one who is offered the service. So in other incidents, we will find out those incidents where the nurse can't speak the language or where the teacher can't speak the language, it will be the teacher who will be benefited because the child is not developing. He can't even, we are even punishing the parent because he's trying to teach the child to speak properly, but he can't because the teacher is doing something different within those few hours which he is spending with that child. So those things need to be considered, the host, to say, can we continue doing that? We don't have the problem if like the way where if they deploy doctors, they always deploy them with the translators, no matter they come, no matter they are from non-governmental organization like those ones, Doctors Without Borders, who often visit us. Whenever they are coming, they come with somebody who is translating. So we have more confidence with them because we understand they're understanding our own, the nature of our illness and giving the right diagnosis. So those are the issues which I wanted to respond to your question, so that we can be able to, the future government can be able to correct them accordingly. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much, Mkoma Dopsy, and I think we all agree that things have not been all right in as far as how our government has been managing the welfare of Zimbabwe in general, our wealth in the country, and it is actually pointing to the fact that whichever government is going to come in power, it has got a mammoth task. It has got such a responsibility to make sure that, yes, there has been some loopholes and there could be some other things that have been taken away, or they could be still in Zimbabwe, but there could be challenges in making sure that we completely recover. But with efforts from the capabilities of those that are going to be entrusted in 2023, we should actually have a chance to make sure that all that or some that has been stolen has to come back to the citizens, and then citizens have got to share among ourselves, make sure that our people from across Zimbabwe will have to share all that belongs to us. But as we are coming close to rounding off our space, I just want to give this opportunity to Dr. Amaifa. I would want to believe Mkoma Champion still has something to speak, after which we have also Tashinga. But Dr. Amaifa, I don't know if you've got anything that you need to still speak about this issue that we are discussing about. Thank you.
Thank you very much, host, and thank you, everyone. Like Mkoma Denford has already said, the incoming government is a big task, difficult task, but I think it's doable if we start to unite right now and work together to recover what the alien enemy has stolen from us. We know even in our communities who owns what and who looted what. So that information is within us, but we will need professional researchers like Mkoma Champion said. And it also starts with us, even in the communities where we are living right now. I tell you, there's a community of Zambians where I live. I fellowship with them here and there. They are so united. They like and love each other. But Zimbabweans, yeah. Unototanga wafunga kairi kuti pamaZimbabwe. I don't know the seed of hatred, the seed of disunity that has been sown into our lives. So we have to refuse that spirit and work together to recover what we have lost. Let me go to Mkoma Champion as we give our final remarks.
Dr. Maifa, I think we've got Dr. Diamond, our new speaker here, before we go back to. Okay. Yes.
Dr. Diamond, thank you.
Thank you, Maifa, Maita, and thank you very much, Mkoma Denford. I'm hosting people, Pasaka. I'm sorry I couldn't come through. But in the I think with most people, I would have assumed in relation to devolution of power, especially Pamambo Vunzapaya Kutijo. What's your take in relation to Tomboti Kanamuriku Matebeleland, Moana Vanvariku from Mashonaland or the other way around, who can't speak the local language? What's your take on that? I'll speak to an issue, Yandino Ziva, which I experienced in Cholocho, Kwandaka Fundi. When I graduated from teacher training college, I was deployed in Cholocho. I also worked in Kai, I worked in Lupane. Most of you will know Kutiso, my maternal side of the family comes from the Matebeleland side. So in all those places that I worked at Inini, I think if my memory serves me well, if I want to percentize, I think 70–80% of the people were from the Mashonaland side. I hadn't a problem, and that's not a problem now. In English, specifically because I speak both languages. If I started speaking Shona, you wouldn't think Kutintination Devere Mandiri, or if I started speaking Devere, you wouldn't think Kutintination Shona Mandiri. I didn't have a problem. I don't even have a problem today, because one thing that I want to be known about or known for is the ability of people from different or different views, different political affiliation or tribes, races. Kutijo, we can actually coexist amicably in peace. Sagainini personal, I didn't have. But when you then look at the service that you would have come to provide within that area, it totally defeated and defied it. You would have seen Kutijo, so many places. Inini personally, I was used as a translator. A Shona speaking teacher, straight from college, never lived in Matebeleland. And during that time, Isusu Yataka graduated, Taita Sheku deployiwa. I don't know what it was all about, whether Kutima graduates, Ekuma Teacher Training College, they were predominantly from the Shona speaking side. And I would have wondered, Kutivation Devere, what message does that send to them? Even enrollment, teacher training schools, nursing schools, I would have wondered to Kutizo, why would it be that maybe out of the people who are graduating, 80% of Shona speaking people? What happened to the Matebeleland people? What message are we trying to send? And if you look back, Dr. Maifa, into history as far as Matebeleland is concerned, mostly, I know things are improving. I'm happy about the improvements that are happening. And having said that, it's not enough. It's not enough. And I think there's still an element of and I don't want to sound like in Judaku instigator, some racial, some traditional or some tribal issues here. I don't want to, because like I've said initially, Mkoma Denford, on both sides. If you ask me, are you in Ndebele, are you Shona? I can't even answer you. I'm both, because I believe a child is equally moms as they are dads. It's like I'm just everything. I'm just both. So it sends message what happened to the Ndebele speaking people in the 80s during the Gukurahundi time. And this is not to politicize anything, because I know they are our brothers from the other end. The moment you start to speak about Gukurahundi, Anzima Akudaku gain a political mileage through Gukurahundi. Absolutely not. if you are one of the victims, or even if you have actually read through, not experienced, but read through Gukuraundu, you would never, ever, ever open your mouth to say anyone can use kutambura nekufa kwakaita vanhu kuti ugain political mileage. So what I'm saying is, because of what happened, we can't just erase it and say it was just a moment of madness. Let's just move on, forget about it. Let's move on and start afresh. We can't just do that. We can't just draw a line without addressing the issues and making right what was made wrong. And part of the making right would have meant this real devolution of power, unifying people, equal opportunities, irrespective of kutizo muno arikuva, where do you hail from, Matebeleland whatsoever. So we would want to see, I'm not saying let's not employ, let's not engage vanhu vekumatebeleland kumashonaland or the other way around. That would be absolutely myopically thinking if we said that a statement. But let's understand kutizo, come on. We've had people, for instance, people who've always thought of them being second-class citizens, maybe, or looked at or looked down upon as if they don't matter, as if they are not allowed into position of decision-making or positions of power per se. Let's unify people. Let's start doing things that speak to the effect of, in 50, 20 years time, 30 years time, you look at a child whose development you actually inputted positively into. What do I mean by that? So when you get a Ndebele speaking teacher in the Kumashonaland, cannot a Shona speaking teacher Kumatebeleland, anotaura Chishona. No offense to that, because ndo chaanongotaura isi mosha kutaura Chishona. Kuenda ku ECD kunonzi emgiqiga kumbe eJimila Primary School, enhlambi yabaloyi Primary School. The teacher cannot even pronounce stare chikoro racho for starters, emgiqiga Primary School, enhlamba baloyi Primary School. They can't, that's the starters. Zita remwana chairo mwana anonzi nomatamsanga. Teacher havatombogoni kana kuridaedzera kana kutizvo ndaba zezwe. Teacher havatombogoni kuridaidza stara chairo. But this is the same teacher who is meant to positively input the early stages of the child's education. Can you see an obstacle has already been created right now? And then grade gets to grade 1. In the specialist with my middle classes, ndaenda unotora grade 3 ndofamba nawo 3 4 5 6 ndosiya. Ndodzoka ndontora 3 4 5 6 ndosiya. And uchitora mwana we grade 3, you would have expected them kuti vanenge vapa certain stage into their educational development stage. Akugona kunyora zita rake, akugona construct ma sentences zvine. I mean, I wouldn't have expected them to be expert in starting constructing my sentences are meaningful at that time, grade 3. But there's a certain stage that expectedly will be thinking kuti mwana ashika pa stage yakati. But you would have noticed kuti communication was zilch, nothing, absolutely. Mwana anakana idea. You can't start speaking with a child nechirungu. We know that isusu takugara zvedu kunoku, a child tinotaura chishona kumba kunoku, they go to nursery, they speak English. Saka by the time they get to ECD, if speaking English with them, they understand what you're on about, because it's a language that has been inputted into their system. Vachiri vana vadiki. So a Shona speaking teacher is in class with ECD. Obviously, they're going to have to communicate in English, for goodness sake. And she is the only person who's speaking English, or he is the only person who's speaking English. Kumanawe ECD. So the impact that it is going to have on that child is nearly nothing, zero. So we are actually talking to the effect of no communication whatsoever. Mwana varingotarisa teacher vachibhabhula vari pamberi apo. Vozoti pavanosvika kugrade 3, if they are fortunate enough kudonhera muclass maMiss Diamond, ndopande nchiti AAE. Vovoti AAE. Ndobva ndati zwana nxangi sithi lo ngesikhiwa ngu-A asithini A. Ndopa vari kutotanga kutoziva kuti ndi A, because communicator to them in the language that they understand. And we are not going to blame them kana vasvika grade 6, because the learning has already been delayed by 2 years. Takuda kutotanga. That is even if vatoita like yekuti grade 3 macho kana grade 4 vatozosangana na teacher anonsa sei anonzwa chirudzi chavo chavanonzwa and start communicating. Saka by the time they get to grade 7 vana vekumatebhelendi kana kuti ekubulawayo, because kazhinji kacho zvinhu izvi tisingadi kunyeperana, because I know there are some people who are going to come and say kana kweduwo futi kumashona kwauya vanhu vechindevere. I understand that, but it wasn't as serious as it was in Matebeleland during my time, Denford. So we've already started by creating an obstacle, a hurdle pamwana, and then we'll expect this turnaround kana mwana grade 7. Yes, it happens, but on balance of probabilities, it does not happen. Most of the times we've already created kukundikana kwemwana. By the time they are Form 2, they are fed up. Vakutofunga kuti panongosvika Form 2, I'm going to South Africa. We'll cross a border, voenda ku South Africa. Kunosenza. Vozongodzoka vakudrive mota dzakanzi Gauteng province. But educationally, we would have failed our children. Zvoramba zvichingoenderera, cycle yacho ichingoenderera, no one breaking that cycle. Saka the next government or the new government that's going to come in place, ngatitaurei, not only talk devolution, but understand that this is something that needs to be done. It will help also not only heal the wounds, but it will help to unify people. Wondo dzatinorwa dzimwe dzacho dzatinorwa even on these social media platforms. Dzimwe inini ndikatongoona masi ndinomuteerera accent yake ndomunzwa kuti ndiwe kuchindevere, ndikaona ndava zezwe, other than the name ndava zezwe, ndomuteerera ndomuziva kuti uyu ndewe kwedu. Even masi achitaura nonsense kana kuti ndava zezwe achitaura nonsense, that I clearly hear kuti akudawidza kuti kudii, handimubhashi, ndotaura naye kuseri because umwe wangu. That has been kind of inputted into us. We need unifiers. We need a new government that is going to understand kuti people have been hurt for a long time. People have been divided for a long time. And people are still feeling like they are second-class citizens. People are still feeling like they are not included. There is no inclusivity in this whole leadership or positions of influence in Zimbabwe. You would notice Kutizo is a very negative talk, but I don't like to talk about the Makupe issue. If you wanted to take it from another angle other than what it was, I heard people taking advantage yekuti vanga vazoona kuti mundevere auya chichichi. That, as much as it may not have carried much water, but at the end of the day, you don't blame people who think like that, because we've been divided for a long time. We've been suppressed for a long time. When I say we, I'm talking about people who hail from the Mtwaga's area. So in Inizhango, I think the government should actually look into it, deep into it, without segregating people, without looking down upon people or oppressing, discriminating other people, but ensuring that the services that are provided to people are going to be of good use. They are going to be nurturing, especially the younger people, so that by the time we get to 15 years from now, we will be talking about a generation kunema equal opportunities. Go to teacher training colleges, go to universities, and go to university, go to tertiary education providers. Motonowana maningikini mareshi asina kunyanyosiyana kuti pamashona 10 pane mudevere 1, kana kuti pamaxhosa kana kuti pamavenda kana pane muvenda kana kuti 1 out of 20, then pane mandevere 2. We just want a system which is pretty much unifying and peace-loving, such that we can then be able to interact and coexist together without problems. But kazhinji kacho tinobvarurana because inini tiri kubulawayo, imimi muri kumashona, kana kuti imimi muri kumatinicaland. Saka, I think that's what I can say, and I'm speaking because of experience. Yandakaita the long time I was teaching kumatebeleland, inini ndakafundisa kumandevere, ndoko ndakafundisa, but I was fortunate because I could understand both languages and I could function zvakanaka both areas. That's my take mkoma ndengekini. Uchanzwa futi kuti even kuno kukwatiri, I've heard people, I used to work in nursing homes when I first came into this country. Kuma nursing home, kwanga kwakazara vanhu vechishona chete, hatingori mashona, mazimba ese anga aripo. Zvakazoti later on tichienda kumapati chichi, ndo pandakazosangana nawo nevamwe vasikana vekubhulawayo vaitaura chindevere, ndobva ndati kati vakona vantu vekaya lapa, zvikanzi haasi kona participation, hantu yakwazuta mashona, iwo hamba first, tina silandele muvha. That statement, it was not only from these girls. A lot of times I would hear people saying kutizvo liyadlala ngamashona, amandebele satisesive papa makudala bona sevaqedayo. So that pretty much speaks to what I have just been saying, to say vanhu vechindevere kazhinji chacho tinofila like tiri kumashure, we are not as human as we are meant to be, or we are not supposed to be treated as other people or given opportunities like other people are being. So at the end of the day, it continues to divide us more. So I think that's one thing that I would wish for the next government to actually be attentive to, and absolutely ensure that the status quo changes. Thank you very much, Mkoma Danford. Thank you, Dr. Maifa. And I yield the mic. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Diamond. And I was so much worried when I realized that Mike Mangamska Tora, because what you have explained is what I wanted to hear. And I think you have enlightened not only me, but a number of people who did not have much knowledge about that. I asked this thing not because I wanted other people to know, but I asked because I was ignorant about it. Mozia, when you were speaking about issue ye mwana wechikoro kubva grade 1 kusvika grade 3 mechita AEO, muchitaura nenyaya yekuti somebody who is even unable to name the name of the school kuribiza negama, you would really feel to say, but if you cannot say that, how are you going to be teaching the child? And unfortunately, some of these things that were happening and that could still be happening is as a result of imposition with an insensitive government. So what we are saying is, when people will speak another language to you, an ordinary citizen from this other tribe, it is not because of what you are doing as a person, but it is because of the imposition that was done by the government. And by the way, some of these things that they do, it's because the government is not even worried about the welfare of people, but it's because of it's being taking the importance of its needs. For an example, you realize that some of the deployments that do happen either in universities, at teachers' colleges, and pamavakansi kuti kune kwaita nzvimbo kwakaita sekuku kumaona. Instead of prioritizing like what Mkoma Champion has just said, the local people, they will just pick up anyone from this other region and bring them to this other region. Grade 1 cannot even crash. What are those children going to be learning from that? So thank you very much, Dr. Diamond. It enlightened me so much. I will have to make sure that understand. But as we said, that we are going to the end of our discussion here, unless if you still have other people who would want to also make their further submission as far as the subject is concerned. We know we have talked so much about it. Actually, Mkoma Champion has highlighted so much about how the recovery of our resources, both internally and externally, has to be done by the incoming government. But I'm so much happy that you have said this. Back to you, Dr. Maifa.
Thank you very much, Mkoma Danford. Thank you, Dr. Diamond. And what Dr. Diamond mentioned about Matebeleland reminds me of places like Binga, reminds me of places like Chikombedzi, where the government is deliberately underdeveloping some communities or some tribes. And we hope the incoming government will develop areas in Binga, will develop areas in Chikombedzi, Mwenezi, there where we have people who speak Tsonga or Shangani, and Binga where we have the Tonga people there. I actually have seen pictures of schools or so-called schools where the roof is almost missing and it's a, Paul and Dagger building, not even bricks. And you have a whole community in Chikombedzi there being displaced. Kutiwo veBelarus vari mesora remombe iroro ravanoti Lucerne. It's really not fair, and I hope the new government is going to consider such marginalized communities amongst us. Now, as we give our last submissions, I want to go to Mkoma Champion to give his last submissions. Thank you.
Thank you, host and co-host, and thank you, Dr. D. I still have a memory of when we were at college. I think the majority were people from Mashonaland, and a few of those were coming from Matebeleland when we were at college. It's something that needs to be solved, I think, as far as I look at it. Then I think as well, the government that is going to come, let me just start with this, right? We need a database for national and provincial skill, right? For provincial skills. Then we need retirement reform. We need as well pension reform. We need as well a financial system reform. And we need this one. If I was writing anything, I would put a star a star on it. We need what is called a new resource distribution plan. New resource distribution plan. Kana mari ikatorwa Masvingo province area, let me say Nyajena, there is a mine there. If money has been taken there, the money must be reimbursed going there to develop those communities, right? If there is a new mine that is going to be discovered, the money that is being taken from there must be plowed back to the community, the same community, so that they do have got a general hospital, they do have got a clinic, they do have got roads that are tarred, so that each and every area must have, or each and every province must have what is called a new resource distribution plan. For the reason being that imwe community must be uplifted by its own resources. Zvokuti Harare inoita mbiri nema-resources anobva kunyajena, kumajiri, kuzaka must end with this government that is there. When a new government comes, we need a new financial system. And that financial system must be able to cater for each and everybody. And we must have some reports that tells us who are those people who are left behind in terms of having bank accounts, having whatsoever, because the potential of someone not having a bank account is a drawback. The potential of someone not have a pension, it is discriminatory, to be honest. So those issues must be solved. Each and every community that has got resources must have a community resource trust. That makes sure that each and every mudara, mwana mudiki must have access to either schooling, health facilities, and other things. Kungocherwa pose, we must have environmentalists or environmental agencies that make sure that hakungocherwi pose. Ndikangofunga unochera pandoda ndochera, ndikafunga kuita handichatauri zvimwe, but kuita something ndoita futi. So I think we need the new government have got a big task. But if they are going to have right people, everything is going to be easy. And also, there must be a feasibility study of free education for those who are in need. Not those who are not in need, those who are in need. Tine vana vevarombo vakafirwa baba namai nenguva yemukondombera yeHIV. Since then vana havana kuzoenda kuchikoro, vana mukoma vakaenda joni, hakuna unokwanisa kubata kana kubatsira. So all those things have to be done. Then the feasibility of free health care to old people and those who are disabled and impaired, that must be done as well, because there are people who cannot even work. There are people who have been disabled. There are people who are whatsoever. All those, they need to be catered for. And the new government must make sure that there is a new resource distribution plan. Make sure that everyone is rejoicing, getting everything that he deserves. Not something that he doesn't deserve, that he or she deserves. Make sure that all the old people, vari kuwanawo tuma social grants, tuma chichi, izvi zviri kuwanikwa because munzvimbo mavo makadiscoverwa mine, munzvimbo mavo makadiscoverwa a precious mineral. Kwete kuti tinoona vana junior vakutosvika vakutoti aiwa mine yakadiscoverwa in 1920 yakanga iri muzita mababa vedu. Izvozvo have to go with manangara. Manangara nezvinhu zvake unofanira enda nazvo, nezvikumbwe zvake unofanira enda nazvo. Hatichadi ma-institutions anomaniwa nevanhu vasingazivi. Hatidi ma-institutions izvozvi tikati let's go kuma provincial institutions. Unoona kuti vanhu variko umwe hatozivi, kana iri urban planning umwe munhu hatozivi kuti apa panofanira kuti ndo panofanira kuti pave ne tall building, apa panofanira kuti pave nechi apa. You find all those things kuti what is the problem? Zvimwe zvinhu zvinotozikamwawo nesu vanhu vanozivawo ma-areas asinei naizvozvo, tine chitoziva better than vanhu varipo. Zvinobva zvakahlamadzwa kuti ko vanhu ava vari kuziva here zvavari kuita. Saka tiri kuda kuti ma-institutions edu, let's make sure that the new government must make it that every institution is capacitated by able-bodied people. Because zvimwe zvatiri kuona zvinotihlisa. So I think for today ndataura zvinenge zvawanda. Totenda vapariri vechirongwa mukoma Denford na Maifa. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mukoma Champion. We are so much happy that you have just come to enlighten us on your area of specialty, and that helps us to be broadened in our minds. But let's go to Mukoma Tashinga, then Mukoma Jobs.
Okay, thank you. So, well, I will just go into stretch a bit about the need for us to recover whatever we've lost during the time of this incompetent government, and things that we've lost to the political elite, my business, and a lot of all that stuff. Clearly, that should be the first move that the government needs. Once again, it shows that we are in good picture, we're in a good spirit. We are already anticipating for that government that we want, and we are already planning ahead of the things that we need to achieve when that government comes into power. So all I just want to say is everything is well, and we are in the right direction. We're walking the journey, we're walking the talk. It goes an extra mile to actually, consolidate and solidify what we're fighting for, because we already see it manifesting before us. When we are already talking of these things, all these strategies, all these plans, it means tinepata to cover, tinepata kutarisira kushika. So I just want to say, I'll let continue, my comrades. Let's keep focused. And I also just want to say this to the people as NPF. Allow me to say this. I've been seeing a lot of people posting about this Epworth thing. Epworth has got thousands of people. And murukufara kupiwa mapepa kwa 350 people. This is just a strategy to try and lure people to vote for ZANU-PF in anticipation of what is to come. Kuti achazopiwa matitle deeds ZANU-PF ikangowina ipapa. Unfortunately, some of us have talked and have been on the ground with people in airports because people now know this song. We no wonder why during the last election, City Roro Rakaenda ku MDC Alliance. People have now know this song. People are now woke, and we are going to also help by preaching to those people. Start spreading the word of truth. These people will never give you anything. These people will never benefit you anything. Out of thousands of lender, why did they only give 350? And what is the process? How can a president go out to dish out my title deeds and stuff like that? Where is the local government? Mangwana local government inodzoka yoti mapepa ana kuitwa in a correct way, so takuda kutanga kugadzirisa mamwe amuna awaya achashanda. Same things over and over. It's been done repeatedly in places like Epworth. Those people will once again be called illegal settlers in that area. So let's educate our brothers, let's educate our mothers, whoever our relatives were. Don't get too excited and vote for the wrong people because of this. President it's such a low job for a president to go and do. Local board, local councils, so paper. Vote, continue to focus and vote on these things. ABCD, let's encourage our relatives. I think that's a thing of utmost importance as well. Else we will lose those voters to empty promises, to fake things, to fraudulent stuff. Thank you. I'll land there.
Yeah, yeah, that was perfect. I agree with you. We must examine such things which happen to say, did any surveyor come and survey the land before dishing out the title deeds, or the just fake title deeds to lure somebody? All those issues needed to be considered. And I think those issues like land issue, those are some of the issues where the new government have to deal with. But the good thing about it is we understand where we are going wrong. Thanks a lot to Dr. Diamond. You highlighted the pain which at times we cause to other people, not knowing that we are causing it to other people. Because I have heard people discussing it, but they don't seem to blame, to say it's not developing those child which are supposed to benefit. And at the end of the year, we are having 0% pass rate at grade 7. Then we start blaming others instead of blaming to say, this is our national problem. It's no longer a regional problem. If we have 0% pass rate in a region, then people wanted to take it to become a regional problem, not knowing it's actually a national problem. So in terms of other issues which need to be implemented, I would just say we have a change champion who understands the task ahead, who understands that we are going to win Zimbabwe we are going to change Zimbabwe for Zimbabweans, win Zimbabwe for Zimbabweans. I don't think one good thing about the new government is they are not going to treat anybody different. They will embrace those and tolerate political difference and give equal opportunity to any other Zimbabwean, regardless of political affiliation or tribe. That is the starting point where we have to understand. So let's build it, because it's our government. It will be our government, which started as a new kid. So we have to keep on building them, giving them direction to say, what direction are you going to take in this program, to say, being in mind to say, no, we need our children to benefit one way or the other. If they are not mine owners, let them be given the first preference to work in those mines. or whatever. If they wanted to own those mines, if they wanted to give license, let those licenses be affordable to anybody who can do mining. At the moment, the licenses are not affordable to anybody except those ones who are affiliated to the ruling elite. So all those changes need to be considered. Even the issue of land, to say we just have somebody owning tracts of land and on 99-year lease, or yet others, they don't have even land. And we are now coming up with some people just being given title deeds, which we don't understand whether they are genuine or not. Instead of severing, do proper severing and offer people where to stay, where there are facilities like sewer and water facilities. The government is just to rush to each those ones who have just built his squatters how fast they try to say you now have title deeds. So all those issues needed to be avoided in the future. And we need, like what Champion have said, to say if we wanted to need to build a new growth point, let us do it properly. To start from there, to understand that our people need settlement. Let's provide those proper roads, proper sewer, proper school, proper medical facilities, and then build those growth points and move on from there. I thank you, host and co-host, and everybody. Thank you, host. Very much.
Thank you very much, Uncle Dobbs, and thank you, Tashinga. Thank you, Mkoma Champion, for your concluding remarks. I want to give this time to Dr. Diamond to give her concluding remarks. Over to you, Dr. Diamond. I don't know if Dr. Diamond is attending to visitors.
I'm here, Doctor. I'm here. Mama Titi.
Your concluding remarks.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. And as always, what a brilliant space that you guys host. Amazing. And every Saturday, we look forward to a space from you guys, and keep up doing such a beautiful work for our great Zimbabwe that is around the corner. And we are so optimistic. I know most of us, if not all, most of us are really looking forward to this change that is imminent. Thank you very much once more. And yeah, good to have you guys, Varipama speakers, and good to have you, Varipama listeners as well. Yeah, always a beautiful space. Thank you, Maite.
Thank you very much, Dr. Diamond. I thought Dr. Maifa, but so what I just wanted to say is Daona sister Pami was requesting to speak, and I think she's battling to come up, but maybe next Saturday we'll be having an equally enterprising topic that we need to come together, speak about it. For today, I just want to extend my gratitude to our speakers, Mkoma Dobbs and Mkoma Champion, in particular, and Sister Diamond and Mkoma Tashinga, as well, for coming to us and share your views about what has to be done by our incoming government. If it is the CCC, which is most probably, if it is ZANU-PF through Hook and Crooks, so whichever government that is going to be coming into power through transparent means and credible election, we are going to be accommodating it. The will of the people shall always be respected, and that is what we want. If people say they want Part A, then that's okay. If people say they want Part B, then that's okay, as long as that our government comes through the will of the people. So I just want to say, what a discussion that we had today. We know we have got so much of our monies that has been externalized out of Zimbabwe. We know there's got so much of monies that is still in Zimbabwe, and we know that there's so much of funds and resources that have been put in the names of people who are not elite politicians in fear of losing them. So when we are talking about how we are going to be allocating these resources, we know that these people might really put them in convenient places or convenient names, so that the incoming government won't be able to detect that. But that being known, so we need the incoming government to make sure that all that is recovered, not to be recovered for the incoming cabinet ministers, politicians, or members of parliament, but ordinary Zimbabweans, in order for their economic emancipation. So in as far as issues to do with uniting Zimbabweans, we have been so much polarized, we have been so much unity, and I felt very uncomfortable when Dr. Amaifa was explaining her experience, where she is when she goes to a place where Zambians are having their get together, how united they are. How I wish that to actually be part of Zimbabwe's community outside Zimbabwe and within Zimbabwe. We are not united, and let's make sure that, and we need to not only give this responsibility to the government. It starts with you in the remotest parts of Zimbabwe. It starts with you in Harare. It starts with you in Cholocho. Everywhere we need to come together. But I want to thank everybody until we meet again next week. But let me give this opportunity to Dr. Amaifa to close the space for everybody here.
Thank you very much, host. I want to thank everyone here on the platform for being here as listeners and as speakers, because we need both speakers and listeners to have a space. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being loyal, coming every Saturday, bearing with us where we make mistakes, and, uniting to map the way forward for Zimbabwe. Indeed, we are going to have a beautiful Zimbabwe with the next government if they have a listening ear and if they take the right people into leadership positions. Let's unite. Let's love each other wherever we are. Last Saturday, remember when we were in the space, we said the local Zimbabweans in our community were meeting at our house to have a barbecue. And one young lady passed a comment which really unsettled me. As we were just enjoying, she said, Mama Maifa, when you sent the invitation, I didn't want to come. I said, why didn't you want to come? Zvamazimbo, zvinonetsa ndakangoti hapana mazimbo, ma1. But now I realize the people that are here are good people. So I'm like, what is wrong with us as a people? Mazimbo, no, atindiko. So let's try to be tolerant. Let's appreciate one another, even on the spaces in our communities, because some of the people that I meet here on the spaces are big brains, big professionals. You are going to be part of the next and incoming government. So let's start practicing being, tolerant and, working together as a community. Kera anotopenga tongomuembrace asi hatizomupi a big hug. Tinomuhaga zvedu nezvigunwe asi let's not be fighting, let's not be belittling each other. And the support that you give to this space every Saturday is amazing. It shows unity, it shows that we are a family. I want to wish everyone a wonderful and blessed forthcoming week. And let's keep praying for our Zimbabwe. At 7:30 UK time, we are going to, which was almost an hour from now, we are going to meet and pray for our country. Yes, we can talk, we can act, but prayer helps too. I think Mkoma Denford will close us with some music. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Unfortunately,